Today we are talking and taking a look at Balmuir blended Scotch whisky, a young 3-year-old blend from Lidl. So we're going back to Lidl again. That looks simple. It is definitely a budget whiskey, and honestly I'm not sure what to expect from it. Sometimes bottles like this surprise you. Sometimes they remind you why they cost so little. So we'll see what we're gonna get from this review. Either way, it's a good chance to explore what a very young blended whiskey can offer. Balmuir is a Scotch blend that combines malt whiskey with grain whiskey. So that's slightly different. I don't think we ever had that kind of blend on this channel yet. As a reminder, grain whiskies is usually made from wheat or corn and distilled in column stills. It is lighter, it's smoother and cheaper to produce, which is why blends at the budget end of the market often rely heavily on grain spirits. The label says it is 3-year-old, which is the minimum legal age for Scotch whisky to be called Scotch. At this age, we don't expect much. We definitely expect the spirit to be young, to be fresh, very alcoholic, I would say. So the ethanol is going to probably hit us quite hard. So it's going to be quite sharp because the cask influence has not had much time to work. Even though that it has been 3 years, is not that much for whiskey. The bottle itself looks very basic. I have the smaller version just because I don't know what I'm going to do with it later on. I'm probably going to give it to my brother so he can drink it with cocktails. It has a very simple label, simple design, very much a budget supermarket appearance. But here's the interesting part. This whiskey has picked up awards, and then you can see it here. So it includes recognition for respected judging panels. Awards do not always tell the full story though, but when supermarkets wins anything, well, at all, if they win anything at all, it becomes worth tasting and trying with an open mind. But before we taste, let us remind ourselves what young whiskey normally brings. It should be lighter in color, more raw spirit, less oak influence, more cereal and grain character. These are not faults, they are simply the natural outcomes of short maturation and a blend that is built for value rather than depth. Let us pour a dram and see what Balmuir can offer. And then obviously there is no cork. And, you know, once you have that metal, you can expect anything. It is quite light. On the nose, you get that youthful cereal notes, fresh grain, simple malt, maybe a touch of brown bread. There's some nuttiness to it and a small hint of fruit. Nothing complicated. It's not heavy. A little sweetness comes through. You get definitely that ethanol from it as well. Maybe a vanilla fudge, but very soft. Let's see what we can get on the palate. On the palate, the whiskey opens with light malt and great sweetness. The grain is quite gentle, but the alcohol rises. It is very common at this age, the spiciness of it. There's a bit of toffee, touch of honey, slight fruit character, maybe of apples and pears. The body is very thin, which is expected. The flavor does not linger long, it feels straightforward. It's clean. It's not as harsh as I would expecting, but definitely young. The finish is super short and simple. A little pepper, a little sweetness. The nuttiness comes back for a moment and then it just fades very quickly. This is not a whiskey designed for like a long aftertaste or deep complexity. It is made to be affordable and easy to drink. So, who is this whiskey for? If you want a rich Highland malt or a smoky Islay, this is not the bottle for you, but that we know. But if you're looking for something cheap, for blending, for mixing with cocktails, for like a highball maybe, or for parties where you want quantity over complexity, Balmuir fits the purpose. It's definitely cheap, but it's not bad actually. It also quite decent option for people who are just beginning to explore Scotch blends and want something light to start with. This blend is actually quite smooth. It's not too bad. So let's talk about the value. If you pay the low price, you're getting exactly what you see and what you can expect in the taste. A young, simple blend that does the job. And honestly, this is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with this whiskey. Not every whiskey needs to be deep, complex, and this whiskey is quite simple, easy to drink. So some whiskeys exist to be uncomplicated and accessible, and some whiskeys are just for cocktails and they're not to be drink as sipping. My rating for Balmuir blended Scotch whisky oak 3 years is probably 61 out of 100. It is drinkable, it works well for mixing, but it's not something that I would put on my shelf and just keep it there. But you know, it's not too bad. So Balmuir 61 out of 100. Surprisingly, not too bad. I mean, it's not great either, but I would rather drink it in a cocktail than by itself. So thank you very much. See you in the next videos. Let me know what would you like me to try. Let me know if you ever had Balmuir by itself, so neat, or in cocktails, and what cocktails do you drink with Balmuir. Or tell me what other little whiskies you would like me to taste. Anyway, all drums are welcome. Thank you for listening again.